So this is the first in a series of videos that will walk through how to use LINX with the RPiSoC. This video is going to go over getting your environment set up. So we're going to walk through downloading the LINX firmware to the RPiSoC, installing the LINX package to LabVIEW, and just running a basic VI to make sure that everything's working. Before you go through this video, you'll need to make sure you have some prerequisites. You need to have LabVIEW installed, you need to have the VI package manager for LabVIEW, and you need to have PSoC Creator for building and downloading the firmware. You also need to have a copy of the firmware, and you need to have the LINX package for the RPiSoC. You also need to make sure that if you are running Windows 8, you have disabled driver signature checking. If you haven't done that, Google it real quick. There's lots of tutorials. It'll involve rebooting your computer, so it's worth doing now so you don't have to worry about it later. This will be important when you go to install the driver for the RPiSoC running the LINX firmware. It's unsigned, and so Windows 8 will refuse to install it if signature checking is enabled. Assuming you've got that all taken care of, we will start by opening the RPiSoC firmware in PSoC Creator. And once that's all set, we're going to go to the main.c file. And right at the top, we're going to make sure that we're downloading it in LINX mode. And so that means making sure the include linx.h line is uncommented and the include python.h line is commented. If you ever wanted to download this in Python mode, you would just switch the comments so only include python.h is included and then rebuild it. Assuming we've got it all set up for LINX, we're going to make sure we build it. I built it just recently, so my build is going to be very fast. Yours might take a while, but assuming it succeeds, we're going to go to the bootloader host tool to download it. Make sure that you are pointing to the CYA-CD file in the directory of the current build. It doesn't always update that automatically. And so if you have that selected, choose your RPiSoC, download. And while that's downloading, we're going to open up the device manager. And once that downloads successfully, your RPiSoC should boot into LINX firmware mode. If you don't have the drivers installed, then it'll show up in Device Manager under Other Devices as RPiSoC. And there's a little error here because it doesn't have the right driver. This is the part where you need to make sure that you disabled driver signature checking if you're in Windows 8. And assuming you did, we're going to right-click, click on Update Driver Software. We're going to browse my computer, and then we're going to point it to where the RPiSoC LINX firmware is. And so in my case, it's on the desktop in this folder. I'm going to choose that, hit OK. Make sure you include subfolders, hit Next. It's going to throw up a big fat warning because the drivers are unsigned. That's okay, we want to install it anyway. And then it should install successfully. We'll hit Close, and now it's going to show up under Ports as Cypress USB UART. And you'll want to take note of the COM number that Windows assigns it, because we'll need that later when we start working with it in LabVIEW. So now that that's done, the RPiSoC should be ready to go. So we're going to close all this. And next we need to install the LINX package in LabVIEW. So assuming you have the VI package manager installed, you can just double click on that LINX package. Package manager will start up. And it's going to confirm that you want to install LINX. And we do, so we're going to hit install. And then it's going to throw up this window saying that it's going to install LINX, and it's also going to install LVH Toolbox because that is a dependency. That's all good, so we're going to hit continue. You have to agree to some licenses. And once that completes with no errors, we'll just hit finish. And we can close out of this, and we should be good to go. So to confirm that everything's working, we're going to fire up LabVIEW. And if we go and create a blank VI, and then go to our block diagram, functions palette, you should see LabVIEW Hacker, and then LINX, and then here's all of your LINX VIs. We'll go through how to actually use these in a later video, but for now, just to make sure everything's working, we can go to Help, Find Examples, and I usually just go to Directory Structure, choose LabVIEW Hacker, LINX, and then we're just going to open the LINX Blink Simple example. Now here you'll need to make sure you set the serial port to that port that we saw in the device manager earlier. So in my case it was COM3. And the onboard LED on the RPiSoC is port 12 pin 0. So we're going to set the output channel to 120, which is port 12 pin 0. And once that's all set, we're going to hit run. And if all goes well, if you wait a few seconds and then toggle this little button, you should see the light on the RPiSoC toggling at the same time as the button. Assuming that all works, you know you have the LINX firmware set up correctly, you know you have the LINX packages installed correctly in LabVIEW, and you are good to go start creating more advanced LINX VIs.